You're listening to the LSG Sports Network, the authority on Texas high school football. Welcome to the Texas High School Football Coaches Show on Lone Star Gridiron. I'm Chris Doelle, and it's my belief that the men that make up the fraternity of Texas high school football coaches are much more than a bunch of thick-necked guys with whistles. They do so much more than teach technique and the X's and O's of football. They take young boys and change them into young men of character. They get kids to believe in themselves, to trust others, and to put others ahead of themselves. Texas high school football coaches are unique in how they impact the lives of these athletes as well as the generations those kids touch. In this show, I sit down with a different Texas high school football coach each time and learn about them. Not their record, not their on-field accomplishments, but who they are and what they believe and what it means to be part of the greatest sport in the greatest state. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Texas High School Football Coaches Show. I'm your host, Chris Doelle, and this is Season 6, Episode 8. Today, I have a coach who has bounced around the Super Centex region, but has made his way back home once again. Yes, I will introduce you to Coach Shane Anderson right after this. Hey, if you're involved in your team's fundraising, get this. I was recently introduced to Success Fund, and I was blown away by what it can do. If you're not already using Success Fund to manage your fundraising, you'll really want to check this out. SuccessFund.com. That's Success, F-U-N-D.com. It's not a specific fundraiser, no. Now, Success Fund is a platform with free tools that makes it easy to run whatever fundraiser you're already planning. Sponsorships, donations, camps, clinics, whatever it is. Success Fund makes it 10 times easier. Plus, schools use it to accept Venmo, which is otherwise not an option. Because so many thousands of fundraisers have been through their system, these guys know what works and what doesn't. And they just put out a free high school football fundraising guide. Yeah, you can go and download the guide for free at successfund.com/football. It takes 2 seconds to grab it. Again, you want to be sure to check these guys out. But at the very least, go grab this free football fundraising guide at successfund.com/football.
I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Power Plus Mouth Guard. What is that? Well, it's a mouth guard that helps you perform better and also increases your strength, your balance, your stamina, reduces the G-forces which are found in concussions. And the way it does that is it aligns your jaw properly. So this mouthpiece not only protects you, but it's going to help you breathe better. And that's really what it comes down to. It puts your airways in a better alignment, and so that helps you breathe better. That helps you have better balance, helps you have better stamina, the more oxygen getting to your brain, the more oxygen getting to your muscles, and that's where this mouth guard can help you. So you can check them out online. Just go to powerplusmouthguard.com. All you have to do is hit / and shop, and it'll show you all the mouthpieces they have. But check them out and check out the website. Dr. Michael Hutchinson is the one who has designed this new technology, and I really do think it is very forward-thinking in helping reduce concussions, in helping you be more alert late in the game when you're going to be tired, your muscles are tired, lack of oxygen is starting to affect you. This mouth guard will help you in getting more oxygen to you. So check them out, powerplusmouthguard.com.
All right, everybody, join me in welcoming Coach Shane Anderson to the show. Coach, how are things today?
Great, man. Having a great off season, getting ready to finish up phase 1 and go to spring break, and then come back and start getting ready for spring football.
I love it. Well, before we get to this year, let's jump back in time to when you were a kid, where you grew up, how you first discovered the game of football.
I grew up in Waco Connally. I was a third generation Connally cadet. My grandparents were in the first graduating class of 1951 when Connally consolidated. The local communities consolidated in 1951. My grandpa was the first all-district football player, and my grandma was the first homecoming queen. And then both my parents attended Connally, and then I grew up there. And my uncle has been on staff there since 1990, and so he's in his 40th year of education. 30-plus years there at Connally, and so I'm a Connally cadet through and through, and that's where I was born and raised.
Nice. And I assume you started playing, following in the footsteps of your father, and talk about your playing career.
Yeah, I was a multi-sport guy, played everything in junior high, and then, I had to get to high school, freshman year, did everything, played basketball, football, baseball, did the powerlifting, did all that stuff, ran a little bit of track just to help with football, and then, ended up being kind of primarily football, baseball guy, and, was a 3-year letterman in football, 4-year letterman in baseball, and so, we had a really good run in baseball there, played in the regional finals multi-years there at Connally, and then in the late 90s, early 2000s, so, that was kind of my playing career, and, was fortunate enough to be Super Syntax and all district in both sports, and, just very blessed to be around, a lot of good coaches, and, there's some of those guys that coached me are still, my best friends and mentors today.
Well, if you could call out some of those coaches and how they impacted you as a kid.
Well, like I said, my uncle's, been a tremendous impact. He was kind of the reason, that I got into coaching, just with him being up there all the time, us growing up, we would, ever since we were in kindergarten, we were ball boys, my cousin, myself, and my brother, growing up in the field house, growing up on the sidelines, I knew at an early age, probably first, second grade, that's what I wanted to do. And, like I said, as far as just coaches that coached me in a position, I think the biggest influence, biggest mentor that I have is Donnie Hyde. He's the head coach over at Waco La Vega. He did his student teaching for my uncle, coming out of college. And so, when I was 5th, 6th grade, real moldable years of my life, he was that young coach that ever, had all that fire in his belly and just loved the way he coached. And then he coached me through junior high and then coached me in high school. And actually after my sophomore year, he left and, went down to Corpus with the head coach that we had. And then, so, I didn't finish with him, but, we stayed in touch over the years. And then obviously when I was the head coach and athletic director at Connally, we squared off with La Vega, multiple times. And so Donnie's probably the most influential mentor as far as guys that had coached me. And then, my high school head coach, Buddy Griffin, who just retired, second retirement from DCAB. And then Steve Burra, was also my head coach. And so, and then you can't leave out, Corey Beckham. He's the head coach, baseball coach at China Spring, had a great run at West, won multiple state titles, started a Lake Belton program. And, he was my high school baseball coach. It was his first head coaching job my junior and senior year. And he was 26 years old, so he was close to our age. And, we just, he and I fell in love with each other, and he's another big mentor and person I lean on heavily as a coach.
Nice. And take us from high school, what happened next?
I went on and played a little JUCO baseball up at Collin County Community College, and then transferred to Tarleton. And was part of that program there for a couple of years, and then really realized that I wanted to get into coaching, and I was dating my high school sweetheart who I've been married to for 16 years, and we knew we were going to get married and start a family, so it was time to finish up and to get that first job.
Yeah, and okay, so now let's go step by step. All the positions you've held, and maybe some of the things you learned at each of those.
Well, I think, it starts in 2006, 2007, down in Giddings, Texas, on Highway 77. I was a part of a really good run there, worked for Derek Fitzhenry, who is now the athletic director at Sheldon ISD, C.E. King High School, and worked for Coach Fitzhenry. I coached the linebackers, and it was assistant baseball there. Had a really good run. We were good in everything. I think with the 2 years I was there, we were 25-2, something like that. And,
Wow.
So that was a small town atmosphere, and it was like the movies. We won on Friday nights, and the whole town shut down for Buffalo football. And, so that was a really, really good experience, just coming out of the gate, of winning and being a part of a program. And I learned a lot from Coach Fitzhenry. Rick Zamora is another guy. He was our defensive coordinator. He's one of my mentors. He's out of coaching now, but, we stay in touch, and we're really, really good friends. And he's always been one of my biggest fans and biggest supporters as I've climbed the ladder. And then from there, we came back to Waco area. My wife's from West, and I was, obviously from Waco Connally. And so our parents and her parents were here. And, so we came back, and then I was able to get on at Midway, with Coach Kent Bechtel his last 2 years before he retired, and I actually did my student teaching at Midway in 2005, and helped Coach Bechtel and those guys out. So I had a relationship and was able to get in the door there at Midway as a secondary coach, and we had like I said, we had an incredible run. A lot of really, really good players. We were still playing 4A football at the time, as before there was a 6A. And, we won big in 08, we won big in 09. And then in 2010, a man named Terry Gamble left Allen, Texas, and came to Midway, and, kind of took me under his wing. And I was his secondary coach for a couple years. We were fortunate enough to play in a state championship in 2011. And then I got my first coordinator job in 2012. At Tyler Lee, then it's Legacy now, with Daryl Piskey. I never thought our defensive coordinator David Petroff would leave Midway, and so I jumped on that opportunity to go to Tyler. And 6 months later, David took the Royce City job, and Coach Gamble called me and wanted me to come back to Midway as the defensive coordinator. And so came back in 13-14, and then I was fortunate enough to land the AD head job at my alma mater at Connally in spring of 2015. Spent 6 seasons there. The superintendent there that hired me and is one of my dearest friends is Wesley Holt. And he was actually one of my junior high football coaches. He spent his whole career at Connally. He bleeds blue, and he knew that the passion that I had for that school district and for those kiddos, and we were able to get in there and hire really good staff and get that thing to what it is today. And we were, the last 4 years that we were there, we were top 5 program in 4A, and had a really good run and had some really, really, really good players. And we're fortunate enough to get those kids, signed. I think in 2019 we finished 13-1 and signed 4 Power 5 kids, and so. Just to make that impact and to get that program, we had only the second undefeated season in the school history in 2019, and won the district championship, first outright district championship since like 2005. And so, that was big to go back to my alma mater and do that. And then, I had a connection at Midway, and then late 21, when Coach Hume took the Mansfield Legacy job, Brad Shelton, our athletic director, reached out to me and asked me to come back and take over the Midway program, and that's where we are today. We're in our second off season, third year. I don't count that first year. We didn't get here till June, so we've only had really, this is our second off season, and so we're trying to get this thing back to what it was. My stint there from 08 to really 14, we were 89-11, and so.
When all things are equal between coaches and players and situations, what is the big difference in a winning program and a losing program? Well, I tell you, I think a big factor is the information you have available as a coach. And our sponsor, Optimum Grading, can do so much to help you have that information. They provide a comprehensive, fully customizable web application designed from a coach's perspective to analyze the players based on what the coach is teaching. By default, players are evaluated from their alignment, assignment, technique, effort, and production result. And through reports, a coach can understand where the player is exceeding and where he is struggling. But as I talked with the founder, what I discovered was what makes this system different than any other tracking system is that it is so customizable. You can decide what's important to you, and you only have to track those factors that you find important. This powerful platform integrates play data with the coach's input on every single play and ultimately allows the coach to run detailed reports to uncover how the players are performing overall and in situational football. It's really good stuff. Check it out, OptimumGrading.com. I tell you, this is a tool that will separate winners from losers.
My stint there from 08 to really, 14, we were 89-11. And so, we had won 12 district championships in a row and then got thrown in that gauntlet of Duncanville, DeSoto, Cedar Hill with some COVID and just a little dip in some skill and talent. And so we're getting that thing back to what it was.
Right on. And as you have matured in coaching, what have been some of the biggest surprises from the job that maybe you didn't realize as you started out as a coach?
Well, I think you start out as a you get into coaching because you want to compete. You're done playing, but you still want to compete, and you still want to have that. You want to have that satisfaction of winning, and then you have the disappointments of losses and all that. So I think like I said earlier, it's just a energetic way to compete and try to win and in a different aspect. And then I think as you grow and as you get older, and I know this. Essentially my 10th year as a head coach coming up, I think you start realizing that it's bigger than that, and it's a calling, and it's you're filling a void for a lot of these kids that don't have a dad, or you're filling a void for a lot of these kids that don't have a support system at home, and I think it's it truly is developing young men and turning them into good people and good husbands and good fathers. And at the end of the day, that scoreboard is fun, and that's how we're going to get hired and fired. But at the end of the day, it's not about that scoreboard. And I don't think as a young coach, and I was 31 when I got my first AD head coaching job, and I for sure didn't understand it then. And I think over the last 9-10 years, I think it's really resonated with me that if you do everything right all the time, and you focus on developing young men, that the scoreboard will take care of itself. Right on.
Talk about the importance of the community that you're in and their buy-in to your philosophy.
Man, we've got the best community in all of the state. I mean, we're up there with you name it. We're up there with them. Lake Travis's, West Lakes, the islands. I mean, we got a great community. The thing I love about our community is the diversity that we do have. We have everything from Section 8, low income housing, all the way to $1 million mansions. When we were here in 2011, our quarterback was Kramer Robertson, who's with the St. Louis Cardinals, whose mom is Kim Mulkey, that's at LSU now. All the Baylor coaches, kids played for us, back in the day. Coach Aranda, that's at Baylor now, his son and my son are in 7th grade together. And so, we have everything that you can imagine. Our culture is great. It's kind of like a college. I tell people all the time, if you go to Midway High School and you attend Midway schools, that you're going to be prepared for college, not just from academic rigor and from the expectations, but you're not going to be in a culture shock. It doesn't matter where you go. Sometimes, you can get kids from these small towns that live in a bubble, grow up in a bubble, and then they get out in the real world and they don't know how to handle, the real world. And so, I think that's probably the neatest thing. Our community loves athletics, understands what athletics does, not only from a football standpoint, but from every sport standpoint, and understands that extracurricular activities and athletics is one of the biggest at-risk, programs in a school system, and keeps a lot of kids in school and keeps a lot of kids accountable. And, we have a great community support system from that standpoint. And no matter what our record, no matter, how we're playing at the time, anytime you go to Panther Stadium on Friday night, it's they're going to be a sellout. I mean, we're going to play in front of a great crowd. We have great support systems with our band, our cheerleaders, our Blue Crew Panther Patrol, our drill team. It's second to none. And then you can't forget about what our community has poured in and our school district has poured into our facilities. I don't know how familiar you are or people are with our facilities, but we have the best facilities in the state. We have, immaculate stadium, one of the best stadiums in the state. We have a full 130-yard indoor. We have a 44-rack, 11,000 square foot weight room. I mean, it's unbelievable what this school district has poured into for these kids and for our athletic program.
I love that. And shifting gears, talk about the changes you've seen over the years in kids. You hear people saying kids are different, they're not motivated, whatever. But at the end of the day, some programs win and some don't. So what have you seen, the changes, and how have you dealt with it?
Well, I think, obviously, I don't think it's just kids. I mean, I think society's changed. And, I think the world we live in is a lot different than it was, 15, 20 years ago, when I first got into the profession and when I was growing up and when, and then that's part of it. And you're not going to be successful as a coach or any other business, matter of fact, if you can't adapt and adjust to the changes in society and the people. Like I said, kids are kids. Kids want to be coached. Kids want to be loved. Kids want to be held accountable. I believe that, with every fiber of my body. And I just think it's about how you approach them. I think, relationships are critical. We do a really, really good job here of intentionally building relationships with our kids and then having a genuine care, for them and help them understand that it is bigger than just football or just sports. And so, I think that's the biggest deal. And then obviously you have to talk about the social media and the social media platforms that are out there and how kids are, on there and at the same time, as good as social media can be for you, promoting your kids, promoting your program, it can also hurt you, and it can also hurt kids, because once you hit that button, it's out there. And I think you can see, across the nation and across, the state of Texas, kids, coaches, people make mistakes on social media all the time, and it ends up hurting them. And so, you got to educate the kids on that. But at the end of the day, you got to have core values, got to have morals and standards. That hasn't changed. That'll never change. And, I think you just have to help kids understand how to be successful and how to be good men and good women. And ultimately that every decision you make, there's a consequence, and some are good and some are bad. And you got to be accountable for your actions. And, if you're going to be a person that points blame and points fingers at people and it's never your fault, you're not going to be successful no matter what you do. And so, that's the big focus for us. We establish core values with our kids, and we let our kids come up with those core values. And our kids, this off season, it's integrity, accountability, dedication, and confidence. And so I think all four of those things are very, very good core values that our kids can take, onto the field of play or onto the court, but, from there into college and into real life and into adulthood, and it will help them the rest of their life.
Nice. And probably one of the biggest changes over the last couple decades is the involvement that parents have in their kids' life. When I was growing up, my parents hardly knew what I was doing at school. If I could get them to come to a game, it was amazing. But now it seems like the parents are a lot more involved. How has that changed?
Well, I think, it's different everywhere you go, and it's different for each kid. And then, and it doesn't matter where you go, you're going to have parents who are, helicopter parents who are just hovering around wanting to kind of live vicariously through their kids and through their kids' success. And then you have parents who genuinely want to help and who want to help the program and who care about all kids. And those are the people you want that are, and I tell people all the time, all good football programs, all good athletic programs have great support systems, great booster clubs, great parental support. I'm all about our parents being involved. I have an open door policy. I know a lot of coaches don't, but, most of my parents have my cell phone. Most of my parents have they all have my email. My door's always open. I think the communication piece in 2023 is critical. And I think that's the part that if you're a great communicator and you build great relationships, then that allows you to coach kids hard and know where they come from and know what they're dealing with outside of school. And I think the parents appreciate that, you know, and I try to get in front of our parents and have conversation with our parents as much as possible. You know, you're always going to have those parents who want their kid to play more and want their kid to catch more passes and touch the ball more and all that. But I think that if you do a great job of setting the standard and setting the expectations and having a vision for their child, that's going to help you. I think that's the most important thing, is that if they know that you truly care about their kid and you truly have their kid's best interest in place, that you're going to be just fine. And I tell them, you know, I'm going to treat your son just like I treat my own. And I'm going to get on to him when he needs to be getting on to, and I'm going to love him when he needs to be loved. And, you know, I think that's the biggest part. You know, I think parents want their kids to be held accountable, even though sometimes, you know, you have to remind them of that. I think that it's important, and I think that at the end of the day, we're all in this thing together, and we're trying to help our son or daughter, or their son or daughter, be the best that they can be.
Amen. Well, Coach Anderson, guys, I want to thank you so much for sitting down with me and sharing some of your story and your philosophies.
I appreciate you for having us, and like I said, man, it's we appreciate what you do for high school football, high school athletes, and coaches across the state. And man, keep doing the good work, and we appreciate you. And look forward. You know, our doors are always open. Come see us anytime, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Did you play Texas high school football? If you did, you're part of an elite group, the Brotherhood of Texas High School Football. All football players, past and present, who have ever suited up in the Lone Star State are eligible. Go to LoneStarGridiron.com/brotherhood. And thank you for the part you played in the greatest sport in the greatest state.
Hey, coaches, before I let you go, I want to talk to you about something I came across called Team Nation. Now, these guys are not advertisers on the show. I just want to share this information with you because it's so cool. It's an app that you use in your program, and this app instantly turns your playbook into a mobile game for your players. I mean, it's crazy. I think it's a real game changer in how you can not only teach your team the playbook, but you know exactly who knows it and who doesn't and how well they know it. And no, it's not a ton of work where you've got to put in all your plays. It syncs up with Huddle. So you can quiz them on what they're seeing, what they're looking, watching a video. It's stuff kids like to do, right? I mean, they spend all their times on their phone. It's got to be the fastest way to teach the playbook. This uses flashcards. This uses quizzes and games to gamify the whole thing. And the thing I thought was the coolest was it's got a leaderboard. So you get them competing against each other so you can see instantly who knows what. And they can see it, and they can work to improve and to move up that leaderboard. It's pretty cool stuff. It's Team Nation. Like I said, I'm going to try to be working with them, try to get some more information about how you can get involved with these guys. I really can't stress enough how exciting this seems to be, how much of a game changer it looks like it is. Like I said, I'll put a link in the show notes here just so you can do it. Yes, I would love for them to come advertise with me. So if you're listening, Team Nation, please come advertise. But I think right now it's more important to get this out to you coaches because it's a great tool. Until next time, I'm Chris Daly, and we'll see you at the game.